Hey there, you guys, welcome back. Wearing the same shirt. I swear to God, it's the same day. I've been doing all kinds of videos today, so you're gonna see it over weeks. And you probably already noticed, Bill, does he change his clothes? Yes, I do. I just have a lot of things to do today, so I've been making all kinds of videos. Anyway, so this one is a fun one. This is one of my Amaryllis, finally, that I saved from last year, and I looked under, they're stored right here beside where I do the videos, and I noticed, actually about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, it was starting to produce a bud, and I'm like, ooh, that's exciting, I need to make a video about that. And then weeks go by, and I procrastinate, and things happen that are shiny and take my attention away. And anyway, so it started to grow. Good thing with Amaryllis is they don't need to be in, or Hippeastrum, whatever you want to call this one. This one, I believe, is a Hippeastrum in the Amaryllis family, blah, blah, blah. So this one, the label says that it is called Purple Rain. I don't know, I can't remember what it looked like. I don't even know if it bloomed last year. I don't know. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove these dry roots. I'm going to bring the camera down. You'll see all my other Amaryllis here. Hippeastrums, and they're doing what they do. They're not growing yet. Well, one has a couple of leaves, but we'll show you those. And so these ones, other ones, I'm not going to pot up just yet. I'll be potting them up in the next in February. I'll pot them up so that they're ready to go outside in April, May, whenever it starts to get warm enough that they can go outside. And yeah. So anyway, come on down. We'll pot this one up. Yeah, just a lot of fun. Okay, so as you can see, I've got them all stored here. This is the one with some growth on it. The leaves started, but then they stalled, as you can see. So this one, I would anticipate seeing a bud starting very, very soon. I'm not removing any of the old husks of leaf, or not leaf, from the bulb. I guess they would be old leaves. You could remove them, but in my experience, when I would remove them, then the white layer, the pretty layer underneath, would then dry out, and then I'd have to remove that, and then I'd have to remove that. So I feel like this is just an added protection, and it keeps the bulb bigger. So in past experience, like I said, I used to remove them because it was ugly, and I'm like, oh, I don't want any disease. This is a protection. Unless you notice a big insect infestation, I would leave it. Some of these bulbs are just beautiful looking. And again, I didn't really remove any of the old roots. This nice white root is a good root. I wouldn't cut that off. But any of the dried up icky ones, I would get rid of. And we'll talk about that with the one that we're going to plant. So I'm just going to move these off to the side. So like I said, those ones I'm not going to plant until they start to bud, or later next month. In late February, early March, I'll plot them up so that they start to grow some leaves in time for them to go outside. So I'm just going to remove any of these old icky roots. It's not necessary, it's just easier to plant. So I'm just taking some scissors or pruners or something. We've got this one root that is white. I'm going to leave that on. I'm sure you could cut it off and there wouldn't be any problem, but I just want to leave it. If it has produced it this year, I will let it have a chance. So there we go. Oh, a little bit more. I'm being very careful because I don't want to break the flower spike off. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? So now that's all nice and clean. We've got that one root there. If you want, you can clean this off. I'm not going to. I think that it looks fine just the way that it is. Where I do generally do a little bit of maintenance is just along the neck. I like to take off any flappy pieces here. Just a light maintenance. Again, that's not even necessary. So I'm going to take the tag out. Again, Hippeastrum Purple Rain. I like to label them as best I can. And I'm just going to remove the old soil from this pot. This is what it was planted in last season. It's probably best to rinse it out. But I am not doing that because I am a rebel, and I would probably have some sort of fungal problem because of it. So I'm just going to go remove this and clean this off. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to use my Pro Mix, a regular mix, not the high porosity. I want to have a nice water retention quality for this, but I could use both. I've got some leftover soil in this little pot. I'm just going to use this, and then I will fill the rest with the stuff from my my regular container. I don't want to waste soil. Okay, I got my trusty scoop. This is a Pro Mix. It's got perlite. It's peat based. In my area, peat is very abundant. I know in some areas of the world, peat is not, but here it is, and we don't have coconuts here, so the coconut coir is harder to get. So anyway, I basically filled up this pot. It's maybe an inch. I'm going to give a little bit more. I want about a centimeter till the top of the pot. And then we're just going to make a nice little divot in here. And we're going to make sure that that root was underneath the soil. I'm just pressing it in a bit and making sure that maybe, I don't know, 1/3 of the bulb at least is exposed. Amaryllis, as you know from past videos, don't like to have their whole bulb submerged under the soil. And then I'm going to get my my tray, and then we'll water this guy in. So with Amaryllis, it's not necessary to water them like crazy until they start growing leaves. A little bit of moisture doesn't hurt when it starts to do its little root production. But you don't want it to be soaking wet. You just want it to be damp. If it's too wet, it will probably start rotting. If it's too dry, well, it just is too dry. So you just want to be more on the dry side during this period. Once the leaves start to develop and the leaves are about, I'm going to say 4 or 6 inches long and they're actively growing, then you know that there's roots probably growing, so then you can start keeping it evenly moist, not soaking wet, evenly moist. And also when the leaves start to develop, you can start fertilizing. I would do a half-strength fertilizer every time you water, maybe even a quarter-strength fertilizer every time you water. But if you like to water once a month, or if you want to fertilize once a month, do a full-strength fertilizer according to the instructions on the container. So that is that. Show me what you're growing. I want to see your Amaryllis. I know that I've seen a bunch on the Plants and Things What's Growing page, but I'd like to see more. There's so many beautiful varieties of Amaryllis out there, and most of them, if you're keeping them for yourself, keeping them year after year, they're probably just starting to produce their buds now. If you didn't bring them in early enough last year, or get them to go dormant early enough last year. So I'd love to see what they look like. I want to see all the different colors. Maybe you're growing them from seed yourself, and I want to see the varieties that you can come up with. Eventually, I'd like to try cross-pollinating these, but it's so hard to get them to all flower at the same time to do the cross-pollination. But anyway, again, show me what you're growing, post them to Plants and Things What's Growing, and until next time, you guys, happy growing.